trap can be the two since it's.
On the contrary, though, a section of the Nigerian community has complained that some content from the entertainment industry does not promote the culture of the people. Instead, it seems to portray Western apparel and way of life as ideal.
The vision of Nigerians of local content. Local content is not only English. My people want to hear Igbo films. A typical Yoruba wants to hear Yoruba film. A typical Hausa wants to hear Hausa film. Thanks to Wangi and the Mnet people that remembered us.
But this may not totally be the fault of the entertainers, according to fashion designer Fumi Ajila.
We have to make sure that some of the accessories, if we can try and do some of them in Nigeria, that's when we can truly say we're wearing Nigeria. And then also, just bring the people together and try and see if we can learn from other nations how they do it. You have to empower your people. The people will have to be empowered. They have to be strengthened. The people will have to, be technically knowledgeable. You have to take people away from where they are to learn from people who have been doing these things properly so that we can get to do it properly. It's not just by buying 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 machines. Fashion has gone beyond that. Fashion is you mass produce. And that's when you can actually boast that the nation is wearing Nigeria.
Now, you see, culture has no boundaries, and there's also always cross-fertilization of culture. But we also have those, those artists whose works are undiluted by any influence, either in music or in the movies. But then they are probably not as prominent as the ones you are talking about, the bling 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 thing. But again, you see, music, art imitates life, and whatever you see that is being, sung, whatever you see that is being, filmed, actually imitates what really is going on in life. But I don't think Nigeria risks, our culture being extinct at all.
The comedy section estimated by industry players to earn about 10 billion naira annually has its place in the scene of events. A craft which used to be relegated to the background has gained considerable visibility. Evidence of this is the increase of successful comedians in the country.
The policeman stopped me. I said, wait till I can find something for us. I just carry 500, leave the man. The man just carry me for pocket. I just reach the front of the other one and say, I give that guy 100K for that.
But even they have their complaints, which include lack of structure, expensive venues in planning shows in the face of inadequate paid guests to the show. And they say they have to share their audience with the social media, which allows free sharing of jokes. Moving the entertainment industry forward means that Nollywood must compete favorably with the international counterpart. And Danny Glover gladly shares some tips.
You have to look at film within a historic and social and political context. And each country accepts a responsibility when it decides to do film. What are the elements that go into that decision? What are the choices that are being made in terms of what film? How important is the film in the reconstruction of a society and important for the nation's identity? Those things you consider. Now, Nigeria became independent in 1960. It became independent, and it became its own nation in 1960 after years of colonialism and after great moments in Nigerian history and African history. So now Nigerian film takes on another dynamic, as it was, because now it's about how do we reconstitute our culture, our images of ourselves, and a nation. So that's one aspect of film, in a sense, and it takes on that. And that is definitely political. It's definitely social, and etc. like that. Those things play out there. So that's the place where we see it in Nigerian film. Certainly, the next thing we see is that where does it go from here? In a film industry that's changing, you know, more and more film, and particularly in advanced developed countries, is about entertaining, not telling stories, not telling truth, not reframing the historic narrative.
The issue of factions, which has been reported among the talents, must be phased out to accelerate growth.
I think we should leave, you know, our past behind us. I think we should leave, you know, we should forget about who is what and who has done what, and who is what guild, and who started 20 years ago, who is starting now. No.
Kunle Afolayan leads by example and shares some of the strategies that has worked for him.
I know some people who have sold their content for $100,000. And I know people who earn more than $100,000 per content for 2 years. Right. And I know people who don't even earn up to $10,000. The kind of content you make determines what you earn, you know, and for how long. And also, I think we have to start, you know, bespoke distribution. Things like these private screenings that we do. When we released October 1, we did some private screenings, and I know we made about 40 million from private screening. You know, no, it's 40. And this was from maybe about 6-7 companies. Why would any company want to bring their top executives and, you know, high-flyer clients to see your film? If your film is not, if the sound is not good, if production value is compromised, if there's nothing to take away from it, they won't. And all we did was, we had one, we invited all those top guys, and from there, everybody will come and say, oh, we want to do two, oh, we want to do two. At least we had more than 3 banks, you know, an oil company and all of that. And, you know, it's value for money. So if you have that platform, you're releasing cinemas, maybe if you're lucky, you know, if the figure is not, you know, overinflated, you know, you can, let's say you gross 50 million. From 50 million, what will come to you will be about 20 million.
The federal government has also attempted to chart the way forward by the reintroduction of the Motion Picture Practitioners Council of Nigeria, MOPICON.
Was a bill that preceded me in office. In fact, the history of MOPICON is almost 10 years, if not more. But they made no headway because there were various versions of this draft bill. So what I did in coming to office was to contact stakeholders in that industry and ask them to go through the various copies of the bill and come up with the one they want. And only 2 days ago, Peace called me to give them a date when they are going to submit the outcome of their work. So all I've been trying to do is to get a bill that would help the industry. MOPICON is going to be like something like APCON, which is going to be a law that will regulate the industry, that will determine who's a movie producer, who's a practitioner, what are his obligations, what are his responsibilities, what does government do for them.
I guess the secret is just keep working at it, and the industry will keep getting better and the benefit will keep getting bigger. Well, that's it on this episode of the program. Join us next time on Big Story. But before then, we'd like to hear from you. I'm Eni Thompson.